Ang bus station at 3 a.m. ticket window promise on the stub. TXT. Bus station at 3 a.m. ticket window promise on the stub. The bus station is the last honest lobby a city has. At 3 in the morning, it stops pretending to be a portal and remembers it is a bench with an agenda. Sit, breathe, decide. That's why I walked down the concrete ramp with my phone turned face down in my palm, a coin I wasn't ready to spend. I didn't have a bag. I had a jacket, a neck that refused to unclench, and a sentence I was not yet brave enough to say in my kitchen. Back home, Mateo had said, "Can we talk tomorrow?" in the voice that means, "Please stay now." Our apartment is good at hosting quiet that turns into a verdict. We both know the sound the kettle makes when it beats us to the point. We both sometimes refuse to let it win. I left before the kettle could score. Halfway to the corner, my phone lit up with a message from L. Lauren on the org chart, L in the way I label hazards to make them smaller. Rooftop. Just talk. Roofs forgive in directions you don't have to live with. I slipped the phone into my left pocket, the pocket I use for things that are supposed to make it home. The station smelled like mopped concrete and soft pretzels nobody bought. A handful of people had organized themselves according to the rules of midnight. A woman sleeping with her backpack straps looped around both wrists. A young guy in a fluorescent vest counting coins. An old man reading a timetable as if it were the last page of a novel. Above the ticket window, a digital sign scrolled names of places that sounded like decisions disguised as geography. My name is Daniel. By day I fix other people's paragraphs. By night I try not to turn my own into weapons. Mateo and I have a code that works when we respect it. T means come here, you up means I'm scared, tomorrow means not yet but don't go far. Lauren came back to my project team last month with files so neat they gave my hesitation a costume. She didn't ask for anything. That's how I started bringing her everything. "Headed somewhere or just practicing?" a voice asked. I turned. The ticket clerk behind the glass was a woman with a spare pen tucked behind her ear and a name tag that said June in letters that had decided to stay. She offered a half-smile people save for regulars and for strangers who look like they might need one. "Windows open if you want to buy a destination," she said. "It works for arrivals, too." "I'm reconsidering the idea of North," I said. "We've got North," she said. "We also sell intentions. Those are cheaper." She slid a small cardstock ticket blank through the slot along with a nub of pencil. 3 words on the back. "Why are you at my window?" 3 words is cruel, I said. "That's why it works," she said. "It keeps people from writing speeches at me." She nudged a plastic tray toward me, the tray where you slide cash if you still live in the century when cash matters. Someone had placed a few slips of paper in it, each with a line in block letters. "Look left before leaving. Warm hands before reason. Re-entering isn't surrender." "We run a lost and found for sentences," she said. "You can borrow one for the ride or leave one for whoever, waiting." On the back of the blank I wrote, "Proud at breakfast." Below it, smaller, "Touch before arguing." The pencil gave the letters a grain that made them look sturdier than I felt. I folded the ticket and slid it into my left pocket with the phone. "Okay," June said. "Now if the bus tries to leave without you, you can decline with context." She clicked her pen, a sound that reminded me briefly of thermostats and their votes. "Want my version?" She tapped a sticky note that had been supervising her register. "Don't win, stay." "I have that one memorized," she said. "It's good for line changes and for marriages." "My pocket keeps picking the wrong platform," I said. "Then teach your pocket," she said. "Pockets are slow students, but they pass if you test them every morning." She looked over my shoulder at the people shaped like questions. "If you want to walk, the concourse is good for repairing sentences that aren't broken yet." We walked the length of the station. At Gate 5, a pair of teenagers played the quietest game of cards I have ever not heard. An employee swept gusts of air into corners and convinced them to stay. The vending machine lit up without request, a polite attempt at persuasion. June pointed at the machine. "That thing," she said, "taught me about love. It sings one song, but if you don't put your money in, it still glows." "I'm trying to put my money where my mouth is," I said. "Try your hands first," she said, with the tender impatience of a night shift philosopher. "Fix the obvious. Label what you can't. Tighten to spec, not to ego. We use that for bus doors, works on people." She tapped the multi-tool on her belt. "I carry two tools, this and a question that costs pride and saves time." "Which is?" "Ask me the real question," she said, "and then ask yourself whether you're willing to answer without a speech." I nodded, my phone buzzed. "Already on the roof," Lauren wrote, attaching a picture of a skyline that had never met our kettle. I replied, "Not tonight or tomorrow. I'd like to be proud of breakfast." I didn't wait for an answer. I put the phone back where it belonged. "That sentence will still be true when the coffee is," June said, as if she saw the shape of it on my face. She looked toward the end of the building where the night manager was changing out a trash bag with reverence. "Do you live with someone who trusts kettles?" "He beats the argument to the boil," I said, "and I keep insisting that reason should set the timer." "Timers are for ovens," she said. "Kettles are for mercy." We stopped at a bulletin board where the station posted schedules and small mercies. Along with the official paper, someone had pinned other instructions. Ask before summarizing ME. Check pressure before speed. The handwriting was firm, as if the wrist had learned something the mouth couldn't yet. June added one with her pen. "Stop at the shoulder, not the ditch." "Midnight drivers," she said by way of explanation. By the far door, a security guard with a flashlight lifted his chin in greeting. "Everything okay?" "Calm as a manual," June answered. That phrase landed in me like a checklist. If we could just be as calm as a manual, no flourish, only steps, we might survive ourselves. I bought a small coffee from a kiosk that had decided to believe in me. June took one too, and we stood by the window where buses breathed. "What do you do when people cry?" I asked, because a man near Gate 3 was doing so quietly enough to be mistaken for sighing. "I don't interfere with a person's right to keep their eyes," she said, "unless they look at me and then I can hand them water. Kindness is sometimes not interrupting." She sipped, considering. "Sometimes it's also interrupting yourself." She looked at my pocket. "Your house will ask you the question. You'll answer it once. Don't expand." The 3:10 to the town I never left announced boarding for the handful of people who had chosen to be brave at the same time. June looked at her watch. "I have to go help a bus decide it's a bus," she said. "When you get home, if your refrigerator is willing to hold paper, stick that ticket to it. Cold helps the letters behave." She pulled a magnet from the drawer, a tiny lemon. "Promotional item," she said. "It points at tomorrow." "Thank you," I said, "for running a window that sells destinations and intentions." She shrugged in a way that looked like practice. "This place is a socket," she said. "It can charge you or drain you depending on whether you brought a wire." She held up the lemon magnet. "May your breakfast go right." I put $2 in the donation cup for a charity I didn't know and walked out to the night that had chosen not to rain. The bus idled like a large animal that knows what it is. The coffee was too hot and exactly what it should have been. I drove the short route home, passing the same storefronts that always look surprised to see themselves reflected in their own windows. In our kitchen, the fridge was humming the way appliances hum when they've been asked to believe you. Mateo was sitting on the floor with his back against the door, sleeves pushed up, one ankle across the other. the posture manuals use when they draw people who are about to fix things. He didn't say, "Where were you?" He tilted his head, a question mark turned polite. "Bus station," I said. I took the lemon magnet out of my pocket, smoothed the little ticket on the fridge, and let the lemon hold it. "Do you want to ask the real question?" He exhaled, then inhaled as if that instruction had just appeared on the bulletin board. "Are you lonely?" "Some nights," I said. "Not here. Not when you ask first. Not when the kettle outruns the script." I took his wrist and placed his hand on my forearm the way he does to check whether I'm inventing weather. "I feel useful," he said. "I want to be wanted before I am useful." "Tonight's procedure," I said. "Touch first, argue second, report later." I sat next to him. The kettle announced itself, a victory for small mercies. We poured water over tea and mint and pretended that this, too, was dinner. Maybe it was. I told him about June and the 3 words on the back of the ticket, about the lost and found for sentences in the cash tray, about the bulletin board that insisted on 5-word instructions instead of a manifesto. I told him I had texted Lauren that she was a beautiful roof in a neighborhood that needed kitchens. He smiled the kind of smile that teaches you how to mean things more gently. He took a dry erase marker from the cup on top of the fridge and wrote beneath the ticket, "Tomorrow, keep the torque." He grinned at his own pun. The lemon magnet looked like it approved in a language I had decided to learn. We made ourselves a new small habit. When panic tried to turn questions into prosecution, one of us said gate 5 or aisle 9 or window open, and we paused. Then we limited our responses to 5 words. T now, RESONS later. Ask, don't summarize me. No litigation tonight. I sent a photo of the lemon magnet to the station's overnight email. June had scrawled it on a timetable, and got back a picture of a sticky note on a safe that read Titan 2 spec, not to ego. I printed it small and slid it under the magnet. It is ridiculous how much authority cold appliances have over human behavior. A week later, when the city felt like a test I hadn't studied for, I went back to the station and bought nothing. I left a bottle of water near the vending machine with a note, "For whoever is waiting for a sister." The security guard pointed at the donation dish. The slips had multiplied. "Check pressure before speed. Turn toward your name. Warm hands before reason." I took none. I already had enough lines for a person who was trying to say fewer words. When I got home, Mateo had angled the table so we could see out the window without interrogating the weather. He had set out 2 mugs and a lemon like an altar to simple chemistry. "Status?" he asked. "On board," I said, hands attached. We ate toast as if toast had been a new technology. We did not try to be good. We tried to be located. The lemon stayed where it was, not a compass exactly, but a small, citrus permission. Days passed in the small way days pass when you are trying to be an amateur human with professional consistency. The ticket in my pocket wrinkled into the shape of my left hand because paper learns its carriers. When it gave up, I wrote the same sentence on the next stub and stapled the old to the new like family. Sometimes on the late bus, I write messages to no one that begin with, "I didn't ask because I thought that counted as kindness," and end with, "May your gate call your name, and may your breakfast go right." I never send them. The act of not sending them is a discipline I am learning from the night. If tomorrow I stumble, and I will, the station sells the same ticket roll to everyone. I have a route. Stop at the shoulder, not the ditch. Read the pocket, not the skyline. Ask the question that costs pride and saves time. Pay for the return with a short sentence. Go home by the simple route. Being first has never impressed a kettle, a magnet, or a mouth burned by tea. Arriving with hands still does. The station hums wherever it hums at that hour. The bulletin board keeps its instructions brief. We fail, and we fail differently, and we fail in ways that do not require anyone to stand at the window pretending they know which bus will save them. Some nights that counts as a miracle. Some mornings it counts as breakfast.